Okay, um, welcome to part number 2, HTML AICT course. And just to give you a little recap, what we did in the first part, this was the HTML code. As you can see in front of you, we did the basic introduction of an HTML code. This was the headings, the paragraph, an image was inserted, and a link was inserted over there. The code at that time, if you remember, it was this code, and I shared this code with you in the link as well. For those who are still new, they can watch this in the description below. The link is given over there. As you can see over there, we discussed the document type, the elements inside it over there, the HTML element, the head element, the body element, and also the script element. Though script element is still empty, we will discuss this most probably in part number 3 or part number 4. Today the part is going to be a little lengthy one because we have established the basics up till now. Today we are going to start from the HTML attributes over there, which is a very important property of all the elements of HTML elements. And then we are going to go towards the styling, formatting, quotations, headings and paragraph. From here we have already done from the w3schools.com. For those who are still joining now, w3schools.com is my basic data source from where actually I am following the sequence as given on the left hand side, this bar over there. And today we are going to actually complete it up till approximately HTML favicon or the page title over there. Now page title I already did it in the last part as well. So HTML favicon is actually the basic thing, and favicon is actually this icon in your bar is actually going to be shown. We'll come back to it when at the end of this one. So this is actually the today's topic over there, and just to verify that my server is running over there, I'm just confirming it. Yes, my Apache server and my SQL database, they both are running. And this is my code, and if you remember, this was the page title, the heading, and all that stuff over there. Now coming to the first thing, attributes. Now what are attributes over there? Attributes are the elements are going to have an attribute. So just like this code over there we did last time, this was an element. The body was one element from here till this point, and inside this body they had another element that was h1, then another element h2, then another element h3. Now each of the elements can have an attribute. You can talk it as a property. So one type of property you can call it. So attribute is associated with elements over there, so they are going to be just like the properties of those elements over there, and those attributes can be of different types. For example, let's say for example I'm talking about this h1 over there. The h1 is a heading. It's actually the page heading, you can call it. So this page heading can be you want this page heading to be in the center of the page. So this means if you want to make this heading in the center of the page, so this means you want to actually make it in the center. So this means actually you have to change the style attribute. So if you want, supposedly you want to change the color of this, so this will go in the style attribute. You want to change the size of this will go in the style attribute. Supposedly you want to change the location of this one, then this will be going in the again the style attribute over there. So attribute is actually just the property of that particular element in which. So, and another way, you want to add something inside that element, then the attribute actually is the main thing that is actually going to be used. Now every element can have an attribute. For example, we have already done this thing, but just to give you a little idea, if you have seen this one, this was an image of a Teja fighter. If you remember the last one, we were talking about the Dubai air show crash of the Indian Air Force new plane Teja. So this was the image. So this image was the starting tag over there, and inside this image tag, these are the two attributes. So attributes is just like the property. So if I'm talking about an image, so this means of course there has to be a source. So that source is going to be here, that teja.jpg. This image should be there. Similarly, the alternate text should be equal to w3schools.com as given over there. Now if I'm talking about this a tag over there, this a tag has an attribute h reference. This is actually the HTML reference over there. The URL, the universal resource locator. And then in this one, the attribute is again H reference. So H reference over here is the attribute, here source is the attribute, alternate is the attribute over there. So attribute is not something new, it's actually just giving a name to the properties inside your element over there. So they're always associated with the starting tag of it. So supposingly, just like over there, as you can see over there, I'm scrolling this w3schools.com, the A is here having the A is the link over there. So if you want to make a link over there, so this URL link, it's going to have a visiting address or visiting reference, HTML reference over there. So that is actually w3schools.com over there. Similarly, if you're having an image over there, just I told you the source is actually going to be an attribute over there. And just to give you a little idea, a little from back one, this image is still not loading, and the reason this image is still not loading is this, because the picture probably is not available in that XAMPP folder, and just I'm going to confirm it out. The Teja picture, I guess, is still not there. I guess this is in some images folder, so I will just confirm it out. Yes, okay, this is there. So what this means actually, that the picture is not available, that's why it's not showing it over there. So if I want to now make that happen, what I want to do it, because I am already in the root folder, I will just have to give the full path over there, just like you give it in some Windows or in MacBook over there. So I'm going to write down images and then slash, and automatically you can see, since Visual Studio Code is my editor at present, so images slash, so I can display any image. Let's say I just go with the teja.jpg over there. I will again save it, go back on my server, the browser, and now you have the Teja image, because previously the image was not at that particular path, so that's why it was not showing. Now just to change it a little bit, let's say I want to now have maybe the Andromeda galaxy. Let's say this is the Andromeda galaxy over there, and I want to actually now display that particular image in my something. So let's say I just take it off, and now I write down Andromeda. So this is Andromeda.jpg. So now this time the Andromeda galaxy will be visible. And now why this Andromeda galaxy is so big picture, because the picture is already so big, that's why. And we have not given the attributes of the width and height. Now what is width and height over there? Now the next thing is actually exactly the very same. Now sometimes when you are loading the picture, whatever the resolution of that picture may be, you have already loaded inside the browser as is shown over there. But if you want to restrict it, you want to compress it, you want to skew it, then of course you have to give it some width or height over there. And again, these are attributes. So these are the attributes or the properties of that element. Now in this case, if I want to now restrict this picture over there, I have to add this attributes. Let's just copy 500 by 600. Practically, I guess it is 500, but the height is just like 400 over there. I'm just taking a guess over there because I still don't know the resolution of that one. So if I just now refresh the page, and now you can see that I have the Andromeda galaxy. Maybe it's a little skewed at present. And just to give you an idea, if you want to go through the picture, and if you are in Windows over there or whatever, you can find out the resolution of your pictures, and this is a 4000/3000. And one thing very important, if you are going finding out the pixels of your picture, 4000/3000 pixels over there. So this means practically that one thing you can do very easily over there is that I can make this 400 and I can make it 300. This means I have kept the aspect ratio same, which means the height and the width over there are exactly in the same ratio, but I have kept it by 10 times smaller. So now the picture which I am going to view is now going to be even more smaller, but it has now conserved the stretching and the skewing of this picture over there in a very exact manner. That was the actual resolution of the picture. Now this one is again an attribute over there, and similarly, as I told you, the ALT is the alternate text. If the picture is not available, or if you are reading this one on some Kindle or some app over there which does not display the pictures, then the alternate text is actually going to be displayed over there. So these are all attributes over there. Similarly, there is an attribute linked with the styling, which is actually the main part of this attribute over there. Now over here, let me just go to the important thing, that is heading. This is the heading H1. Now here I want to actually, let's say I go with the very basic thing. I want to actually change the color of this heading. And why I want to change it, because my website is not looking something nice. It's always in black and white. So I want to just make it like maybe in red color. So this means I have to change this style attribute. And when I have to do that style attribute over there, so I will have to write down style over here. And this style attribute is going to, now whenever I'm going to have an attribute, it's always going to be with the equal sign and then two inverted commas over there. Remember, as you can see over there, the source has two inverted commas over there, alternate is also having two inverted commas, and every data is inside it. So this double quotes is very, very important. You always have to have that inverted comma over there. That is the double quotes over there. Now the style over there, inside style, now style is an attribute, and inside that style there are many different options which you can change over there, because styling does not just only mean that you can change the color, you can change the font size, you can change the font family, you can add a border, you can add a background, you can change the color of the background. There are a lot of things. In fact, like I won't be able to even cover the whole aspect of this styling attribute, but just to give you a little idea at present, I will come back to it later on, that this styling is an attribute, and inside that styling there are many properties which can be changed. For example, the very basic thing I want to do that is actually the color over here. Let's see, color, and with again colon. Now since this is Visual Studio Code, it's giving me the option. I can change the color to any something else over there, and I can scroll down, and these are colors which have been given a name. These are HTML colors, they have been given a name. Practically the amount of colors can be depending upon your scale of your colors that can be displayed on your monitor, but normally speaking the colors can be more than like 16 million colors. This is the normal 8 plus 8 plus 8, which means RGB over there. So this can have 16 million colors plus over there. Now, but just now, supposedly I just want to go with some reddish type color over there. Let's say I give it dark red, and now this dark red, now what I have done it over there, color colon dark red, and since this is giving me, and now since this is Visual Studio Code, I can hover my mouse and I can change my color to something like that. But since I will just go with the dark red over there, I will just save it. And remember, every time when I'm saving it, I'm not going every time on the file button over there and then saving it. I'm using the shortcut, and since you're going to be programmer, always use this shortcut over there. So I have saved it, and now I go back on this one, and now you can see the color of this heading has been changed. So this is the very first preliminary style attribute you have changed over there. It's just like over there, this is red. You can change it to red as well, totally up to you. Let me just bring it to you. So this can be red as well. So when I change this to red, you can see the color automatically changes. And when this is done, now if I go back on my website, now you can see this is some bright red color over there. You can do any color, and you can do it for any of the headings over there. Let's say I do it for H2. So style, again, equal to is must, and then double quotes, and then color is the property color, and here I write down blue over there. And since Visual Studio Code is doing it live editing, so it's already giving me that the heading 2 is now going to be, I just saved it, and now if I refresh it, now you can see the H2 is now changed to blue color. And now I can change this to, let's say this is a H2 heading. I'm just giving a little text difference over there, so the reader can actually find out that this is H1 or H2 over here. So these are the style attributes over there. Similarly, there can be an attribute related to the language as well. We have just still missed it in the previous one. The language attribute is always going to be inside the HTML element. And HTML element, if you remember it, was the main first basic element, and all the elements are nested inside it. So here you have the language over there, lang, there's a short form over there, language is equal to, and then you can write down en, that is English -US. So this will be en-US. Save this. Now this is not going to change anything particularly, but since you are in Pakistan, or maybe you are in US or somewhere, you're always going to have an English website, unless and until you are somewhere in France or China or somewhere where the official language of this web page is going to be something Mandarin or something French or Spanish or something like that. Then of course the property will be something different, but normally 90% of the web is mostly made up of English language, so that's why it's en-US over there. Then of course every element can have a title as well. This is very important, and this is something very crucial. And those who have an idea, now this is not exactly the same title just like the page title. This is something a little different. For example, let's say I have this paragraph over there, and in this paragraph I have this P over there. Now here I want to add the title attribute. Let's say this is title equal to, and here I just say it like, say this is the Dubai Air Show. Now this is just a simple text over there, and what this is actually going to do, this is the title over there. So this means that this particular paragraph is being called as Dubai Air Show. Now what this is actually going to do, see this very carefully. Now when I've refreshed it, there's a small change because of the H1 and H2 heading. Now if I move my mouse on this paragraph over there, and you can see there's a small tooltip. Now this is called as a tooltip. If you have been using computer for a very long time, or even in Windows or in MACOS, every time you move your mouse to some icon or some double clicking button over there, there's a small tooltip telling you, okay, this is my computer, this is my documents, or this is a printer, or this is some finder if you are on a macOS, or you are on a Safari or a browser or something like that. Just like you move your mouse to this one, and you can see this image loaded over there of that particular website. Similarly, on an HTML document, if you have the title specified, you can move your mouse to that particular paragraph and the title of that paragraph. If it has been mentioned, then it will be beside your mouse over there. Since P of this paragraph has not been defined any title, so there is nothing over there, but this paragraph has the title over there, that is Dubai Air Show. Now this is not particularly done nowadays professionally, this title attribute, but good programmers, if you want to make your paragraph much readable, and if you are on some Kindle or something like that, then of course this title, presently this title has as such no significance other than that, then this is actually just telling the user that this paragraph is about what, this paragraph is about what, or this something. So similarly, I can have a paragraph, this lower one, so this is about India, let's say I can call it as title equal to, and this can be called as, let's say Indian Air Force. So I can call it Indian Air Force, and then I save it and I go back on over there and I'm refreshing the page. Now this time I'm going to move it, and now you can see the Indian Air Force is over there. In fact, it should be Indian Air Force, not India Air Force. This is actually an adjective, so that's why this would be Indian Air Force over there. So I will just refresh it, and this will be Indian Air Force, as you can see. So these are all attributes over there, and attributes, as I guess now the idea of having an attribute is important to you, that attributes are just like the properties of that particular element, and that element can be anything. It can be an HTML, it can be body, it can be anything. It can be anything, a source, a link, an image, or something like that, or a paragraph or heading. It can be anything that is an element. It can have an attribute over there. So you can have a title as well. Now one thing very important, you can use capital letters as well, but it will be always using lowercase, because that gives your code easy, because sometimes some languages they are going to use the uppercase as well. So there is no restriction, but normally always use it lowercase attributes over there, because you can see up till now my code does not use the coding part. Of course, this text inside your paragraph or somewhere, it can use the capital letters, of course, because that's a code. That's not a code, it's actually the text where you want to actually the viewer to see over there. So this one is always going to be in lowercase, just for the case. Otherwise, HTML can still work in the caps lock as well, no issues on that. One thing very important, as I have told you, please always use double quotes, which is actually this part over there. You can have never use the double quotes, it will still work, okay? It will still work, but it will have problems if you are going to have a space over there. So it will not display it very correctly if you are going to have the double quotes not used over there. Example is this, as you can see over there, the title, and this is a description, and if you have not used the double quotes over there, so this will be having the space over there. This spacing will not be encountered, so it will be giving you problems over there. So always whenever you are describing an attribute, always use double quotes over there. And Totally up to you. You can use single or double quotes over there, but normally double quotes is the most thing to do over there. And if you want to use some single quotes inside it, then double quotes are the way to go. Just like over there, if there's a paragraph over there, the title is John Shotgun Nelson, and if you want to emphasize on this word shotgun inside it and you want to make them in single quotes over there, then of course you have to use the double quotes on the outside, then otherwise it will be displaying the inner quotes over there. So normally the normal nomenclature by HTML programmers nowadays is you have to use the double quotes every time, so that if you want to use somewhere, you can use that one as well. So this is some attributes over there. We will come back to the styling attribute a little later now, just now after I'm talking about this HTML styles over there. Particularly, I just talked about the color property of the style attribute up till now. The next thing, which is already done last time, was the headings over there. As you can see over there, HTML headings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I guess we have done this heading 1, 2, 3 over there. In this case over there, I can just have the added the other ones as well if you want to actually add them over there. Let's say this is H4, H5, and normally H4 and H5 are never used in nowadays because they are so small over there that it's not going to be visible, in fact, and you have to change the size by the style attribute. Let me just show you what I mean by this. If I refresh it, you can see now this is the highest size by default. By default, this is the size. This is the next H2, this is the H3, then this is H4 and H5. So I can change these words over there, H1, H2, and this is an H3, and this is an H4, and this is an H5. Normally H4, H5 are not going to be that much visible over there, and normally whenever you are making a website, you have a heading, you have a subheading, and then you have some other heading inside it. So normally it's not that different over there. So normally only 3 headings are or subheadings are used mostly. Then coming on to the paragraphs as well, you have the same thing over there. If from H1 to H6 over there, and you are going to have some subheadings. As I told you, H1 to H3 are the mostly used over there. H3, H4, H5, H6 are never used that much over there. And if you want to increase a bigger heading, now this again is coming in the style thing over there. If you want to do that, you have to change the property inside the style attribute, that is the font size. Let me just do that one here in front of you. Now, since you are going to add a property inside the style attribute, now this is something very important. Listen this and carefully. Since each one already has a property inside the style attribute, that is color is equal to red. So what I'm going to do, since I have to add another property, I'm not going to write down again style and going to give it another word. That will actually violate it, because now you are going to have 2 styles. Here I'm going to put a semicolon, and now I'm going to add the next property, that is font dash size colon 60 px. Px means here for pixels over there. Now this can be in percentage as well. I will come back to it later on, but at present over there I have changed this style property. By default the size is something different. I will come back to it later on when we have gone a little bit into the HTML advanced version. At present here in the basics, so the font size is 60 px, it is 60 pixels over there. Now when I'm going to go inside my browser, refresh it, and now you can see now this has increased in size. So by pixels over here, that is actually the vertical height of the word over there. So this you can see over there, this is an H1 heading over there. So this is H1 heading, the size is increased over there. Similarly, I want to do that very simple thing for H2 over there. You can do that. Again, this all has to be inside inverted commas, because style is an attribute. Attributes are always inside it. Just put semicolon, and then here font dash size over there. As you can see, as I'm writing down, Visual Studio Code is giving me many different options. You can see there are many font size, there is font family, there is font weight, font style, font display. Now I'm not going to go through all of these something over there. Actually font size, font family, and font weight are the mostly used over there, but at present I'm just will go with the font size over there. Font size colon, and here now this time, since this is H2 heading, I will make this something like 40 px over there. So it's a smaller heading over there, so I'm making it something like that. And if I refresh it now you can see H2 is on the higher side. So in this way you can change the by default headings H1 and H2, and you can give it any size over there in bigger headings over there. Again, remember, this is the style attribute, and you are changing the style attribute property font size over there in this part. Next thing, HTML paragraphs, nothing fancy here inside it. We already done in the last lecture, and we have done it a lot in this today's lecture as well. This is the same property, paragraphs over there. One thing very important, which is normally a very common mistake in some beginners, that in paragraphs, since you can see inside this Visual Studio Code, I have pressed an enter at this point, but this enter is not being pressed over there. A line feed or a carriage return is not being used over there. So the crash of India Tejas fighter in front of global arms buyer at the Dubai Air Show. So even if I put an enter here, this will still not be reflected over there. So even if you put your paragraph or somewhere, whatever, so you can see I can choose still that, and it's still in a paragraph form. What this means actually, this means that your spaces are treated as just one single space over there, and a carriage return is not taken as a carriage return. If you want to do some carriage return over there, I told you in the last one that you can use the line break or the branch statement. You can call it as a line break, BR over there in this part over there. So here you can add a BR. So this BR actually makes this one. So this is a BR. You can see over here up till this point, this is a BR, and then afterwards, this is the next line starting. It's same paragraph, same thing, but a branch has been, a line break has been added over there in this portion over there. Now, just to make it a little bit one, so what I'm going to do now, this is title, Dubai Air Show, and let's say I want to change the style of this one. Let's change it because it's very small size. So I will just change it to, let's say, let's change the, first of all, the color to like something, let's say, let's make it again still black, no issues in that, and font size. Since this is a paragraph, I don't need to go very much big over there. Let's make it like something like 15px. 15px should be enough. And let's say how this goes on inside my browser. And when you are going to, in fact, it has now reduced even more than that, the reference size, and let me just make it 25px. So now when I'm going to make it 25px, now the size will be increased, and you can see now it has increased a lot over there, and now it has gone in 2 lines. So as you are increasing the size and you are increasing your browser, and why this is so, because you are not going to see your website in one domain. Maybe your website or your HTML page is going to be viewed on an iPad, maybe on a tablet, maybe on a laptop, maybe on some very wide monitor over there, or maybe on a mobile phone or something like that. So the paragraph can be shaped according to the width of your screen. So never ever have this enter is being used over there. So the point over there, as written on this w3schools.com, that even if you have pressed an enter over there whenever you are writing on the paragraph, and even if you have added some spacing over there, it's going to be still displayed as just one space over there. So you're not going to have that spaces added over there. So this is very important, that HTML is not going to eradicate those extra spaces from over there. Then next thing, very important, whenever you are writing down or when you are making an HTML page, just like if you have done Microsoft Word, you can make sections of your page. Similarly, in HTML, you can make thematic breaks in your HTML page, and just like a line over there. So if supposedly, let's say if these were 2 paragraphs over there, and after these 2 paragraphs, then I want to show whatever picture over there or whatever stuff over there, I can add a thematic break as HR over there, and that HR, sorry, not HR, it's actually, yes, HR, sorry, yes, it's HR. So when I have added this HR, this is going to add a line or a thematic break over there. And if I just show you how this will be visible, now you can see a line over there below that element. So everything below that element is now going to be below it, and that's a little, so you can see now the above section is different, the other section is different. So it's actually giving you a hint that the 2 sections are different over there. Then next thing, very important, as I already told you, that the line breaks, that is actually BR over there, a carriage return or a line, a new line is being added over there. So this is BR, we've already done this one. Now sometimes if you want to add a poem or something like that, and you want to use the paragraph point, then you cannot do that with the simple P tag, because when you are going to write down a P paragraph in something like this enter is not going to be taken. And whenever you are going to show some words from a poem or something, even in English or in Urdu, whatever stuff, you are going to always show it in some like 2 lines or 3 lines or 4 lines, depending upon what are the number of verses in that poem or something. So in that case, this P is not going to work. For that purpose, if you have to show a poem or something like that, the solution is pre over there, which means that pre over here, that is actually a pre-formatted text, which means that it's going to format your written inside according to how you have displayed it inside your HTML file. So if I just copy it, let's just say if I want to just copy this one and let me just add this point over there. Let's say I want to add this pre over here, and I again write down a thematic break just to give it a HR, and like this. Save it. Now what is going to happen? This verse over there, whatever this verse is, my Bonnie lies over the ocean, my Bonnie lies over the sea, or whatever. Now since I've added this enter, so now however I have displayed this will be displayed in my page inside it. So you can see now I've added a thematic break, and instead of displaying those two thematic breaks over there or the line over there, I have this one, and it has mentioned it and it has conserved those enters or line breaks over there, which I've added inside my HTML code. So this is something very important, and normally this is having a fixed width font, usually Courier over there. Normally you don't never write down the poems nowadays in your websites or HTML codes, but normally this is done in the pre-era when the .com revolution was done at that time. But nowadays you normally use the pictures to display some verses of any poems or any something like that. So the pre element is not that much used over there, but normally if you want to actually still show it, you can use the pre element over there. And just to give you an idea that this pre element conserves it, if I just make this out of it, I have skipped one line break or the carriage return over there, and if I just refresh it again and do it, now you can see that enter is gone, that line break is gone from there. So this is one way of representing if you want to have a pre-formatted text already according to your HTML page. Now coming back to the HTML styles, which is very broad, and it is so depth wise, so big that I'm not even going to cover it a whole lot of it, but still I will try my level best over there. Now style attribute is used for all the elements. Whatever element you are going to use it, they're always going to have a style attribute. As I told you, the style has equal to, and then inside inverted commas, or you can call it double quotes, you have a property, then value, then semicolon, then other property, then other value, then again property, colon, value, space, then property. So you can have many different properties inside your style attribute. You're not going to use 2 or 3 different styles over there. It's going to be one style attribute over there, and inside all the properties are going to be added. Now up till now we have changed the font color up till now by using the color property. Now I'm going to change the background color. So let's say I want to change the background color already. Supposing, let's say, let's just do something with the heading part. So if this was the heading, style, color, red, font size, as you can see the space over there. And now I want to just say the background color. So now since I'm doing this on a Visual Studio, already you can see as soon as I write down the words back, and it's give me everything related inside the style, any property that is having. So if you can just scroll it over there, you can see a lot amount of options available over there, but normally I'm concerned with the background color. And as soon as I've written it, the background color, now you can see over there, and I can select, supposedly this is a color name given, bisque. I will come back to this palette formation when you were discussing the HTML colors. So now what is going to happen, H1, whatever the heading may be, and now this time it's going to show me the image H1 with the background color changed to this one. So now you can see that you can change the background color of your any element. Let's just say I want to change this one. Let's just copy this one. Let's say I want to copy this one. Let's say this is again semicolon, background color. Let's say I don't want to change it to this bisque. I want to change it to something different color. Let's say let's just use something different color, some pink color. Normally pink is not really used because it's a very bright color, something not good for the eyes. But again, you can see this can work. So every time you are having a heading and you are having a different heading over there, now don't be worried about this spacing between the two headings over there. This spacing is just like a border or a margin added over there. Okay, we will come back to it later, most probably in the next part number 3 or part number 4. We'll be talking about that when we are doing a little bit more in the styling part, or actually the CSS, which is actually the cascaded style sheets over there. But at present, just focus yourself on the different styling properties which are available. One is the background color, as I just shown you. you, then you can have many different colors over there. Let's say you can even apply this background color. Let's say I want to apply this on this paragraph. Let's say in the styling property, you have the color, the font size over there. Let's say I want to change this background color and I want to give it to tomato. Now tomato is a color, it's actually a fruit also, but it's a color as well, and it's name given because of the color of this origin. So when I go back on my page and I refresh it, and now you can see that the crash of India's Aegis fighter in front of global arms at the Dubai Air Show is the latest blow to a key national. You can see now the whole element has now a background color equal to something different. Now let me just change the font size over here, and in fact every time whenever the programmers are working on something, you always copy the property from another element, and then you can do it over there. Let's say I change it to again 25. For the color part, let's say for background color, let's just say I want to add some different color. Let's say aqua is a color. Now you don't need to remember all these names every time, but you have some names, at least 20 or 15 of them. The most common one, the gray color, the biscuit color, and all that, they should be. I will give you those names just now in this today's lecture, how these names are there. There are actually 140 names given to some colors. And now if I just refresh it, now you can see that the second paragraph we have added is also now having the background color, the size of the font is also changed, and the background color is also changed over there. So now you can see now your website is now looking a little bit reasonable over there. You have the heading over there, and just to give it a little, let's say, a name over there. So let's say this is the HTML course over here, the heading over there. And let's say since this course is specifically for the AI students at UET Lahore, so I have made it AI students UET Lahore, and I can now see it that this is now, so HTML course AI students. In fact, students should be there. Don't worry on the grammatical mistakes or something like, because here we are talking about the. Now if you see over there in this website, in this HTML page over here, it's on the left side. Now we want to make it somewhere in the center over there, because the heading always comes somewhere in the center over there. Now this is also a style attribute over there. You can change the color as you downloaded. You can change the font family as well. Let's say I want to change the font family. Let's say I want to change that font family also. Just to show you that you can actually have the font family also changed over there inside it. Let's say this is font family to Vardhana, and it's a font family name. You can search it out on Google very easily, and if I change it, now you can see that is HTML course written, and you can change. So many different families of available over there that can change the font dash family over there. It can be Courier, it can be Vardhana or something. You have changed the font size already, but you have been doing it in form of pixels. Now here the important part, if you want to change it, let's say apply this font size property over here. Let's say I want to add it for H3, H4, H5 over there. Let's say I want to add it a style property equal to, and inside this style property I want to add it font dash size, and inside this font dash size, let's say I call it 100%. Now what this 100% will do, it will conserve the size that is by default inside it. So it's not going to change something over there. Let's say I am applying it for H4 also, I am applying it for H5 as well. I just want to show you that this can be done, and over here, and there will practically no change over there. Practically there will be no change because everything is now in 100% size over there. So the by default size is still the very same. Now here I can now change that 100%. Let's say I want to change it to, let's say supposedly 140%, and I want to change this one to 120%, and I want to change this to 110%. Now this is in percentage. Okay, that is actually the by default size. And now when I'm going to do it, and now you can see now, so in this way you can also have it. If you don't want to play with pixels over there, you can do this one in the percentage as well, and that is in percentage sign added instead of the px word over there. There are some other formats as well for this font size, but we'll come back later on when we'll be talking about the cascading style sheet CSS over there. And over here in this part you can add the text size by changing the font size over there. This should be on your fingertips, the font family, the font size, the color, the background color, the text color, and something like that over there. Very important thing, the last thing in this style having the property is the text alignment over there. That is how you are going to align your text inside your element over there or your paragraph. Let's say I want to have this style attribute, and inside it again adding a space and adding this one, text align center, which means now the heading one is going to be aligned in the center of the, not the page, but the element. Remember, this is in the center. Now, since the whole element is covering the whole length of the page over there, whole actually the width of the page. So when I'm going to now refresh it, this will be in the center of it, and it completely looks nice because this is an HTML course written in the center. And I can do the very same over here inside the H2 as well. Let's say I want to add it over there, and I will just add a semicolon and text align center. Remember, in style attribute, every time whenever you are adding a property is always given as property name colon whatever the property value without any quotes or double quotes or something like that, then semicolon, then space, and then the next property will start over there. So here I have done it H1, H2, that is center align. And now if I go back on my page over there, so you can see now H1 and H2, they are in center of the element over there, and by default they are actually in the center of the page as well. Now this is H3, H4, H5. Now just to tell you that this can also work for the right and left as well. Let's say I want to add over there, let's say I want to add another property, text align. There are many different options, text decoration, text transform, but we will come back when we have a whole CSS lecture afterwards, maybe in the next half of this course over there. So text align, let's say I want to make this one on the left. Let's say I have made it at left by default, and here in the H4 I want to make it on the right. Let's say I want to make it text align on the right over there, and you can see now Visual Studio is already adding by default. And when I'm going to do this, you can see now H3 is on the left, H4 is on the right of the page over here on the element. Actually the page is by default over there. And even if I am going to, let's say if I just reshape my browser at present, you can see now when I'm reshaping the browser, you can see the paragraph is changing its according, because I have not asked it that the paragraph is just going to be the first line is up till the Dubai Air Show or something like that. It's changing its size according to, but when you have asked it that it should be in center, then it is always in center, just like the HTML course, AI Students UT Lahore. So everything is in center over there. So this is the HTML style. So these are some of the properties. These are not the whole of the properties. We will come back to it when we are talking in detail the CSS portion of it over there, which will be most probably the part number 5 or 4 of this series over there. We will talk about in more detail when we are talking about how this whole website is actually going to be more beautified and more aesthetically looking by using the style attribute properties over there. For now, this is the HTML styles and all these ones. I hope you have done and you have learned something from here. The next thing is HTML formatting, as you can see over there. Now, these are some tools or some element that can be added on another element so that you can change your text how it looks. For example, just like in Microsoft Word, you can make the bold of any text, you can make an italic text, you can make a highlighted text, you can strike through the text, you can underline the text, something like that. Similarly, these are some elements which you can apply on many different texts over there. Again, these are text formatting elements over there, not element formatting elements over there. These are text formatting elements over there. And just as you can see over there, B again, and one thing very important, they have to start with a starting tag and an ending tag. What this means, if you want to make some text bold, then you are going to start with the B tag, and then you are going to end it with /B tag over there. And anything in between this is going to be always as bold, whatever the property of the. Similarly, strong, that is exactly the same, just like bold. If you want to make something italic, then it's going to be italic. If you want to make something emphasize text, then it's going to be EM. If it's going to be mark text, then this is going to be mark word over there, and this is going to be changing the highlighting color of that one. If you want to decrease down the size, this is one small over there. If you want to strike through, which means you want to delete it, sometimes we have seen on some e-commerce website that the price of that item is written as something, it was like $120 or maybe 120 rupees, and there is a strike through, and now the price is approximately 99 rupees. So this means that you are actually crossing it. So you can use this del tag over there so that you can actually delete some text. I will just show you this example and just giving you an idea at present. The inserted text means that you are actually going to insert it. Again, this is going to be an underlined over there. Then the very famous ones, if you are writing down some equation, if you are a physics geek or a mathematics geeks and you have some subscript or superscript options over there, then you can use this sub and subscript and sub get is superscript options over there. Now I'm just going to copy these commands from here and I'm going to use them over there. Let's say I'm going to use this B over there inside my command over there. Let's say I apply them inside this paragraph. This is the first paragraph over there, and let's say I want to apply it this Dubai Air Show, and this Dubai Air Show word I want to make it bold. So what I will do it inside this text over there, I will write down B, that is, and since it automatically adds that ending tag, I will just cut off this Dubai Air Show from here and add it like this. Now what will happen over here, I will just go back on over here and I will show you that the word Dubai Air Show will now become bold. Now you can see that wherever that text is and you have added those tags, it will automatically modify it. So now you can see elements inside another element, and then some styling tags, the formatting tags are added on the text over there. So I hope now this B works over there. Same things, this also works for the strong over there. Let's say I want to use the strong word. Let's say this is the latest blow to the key national trophy. Let's say I want to apply it to the Indian military and I want to apply it for the strong over there. So let's say one thing very important, since if you are working on a Visual Studio, then you can use the benefits of it. But if you are working on some editor, maybe notepad editor or my text editor, just like in MacBook, then of course this is going to be creating problems because it's not going to give you tips that you have made some mistakes over there. And one thing, I guess, if you are accustomed to Visual Studio, you have an idea that whenever you are going to save that file, if that file has an error, it's going to show the number of errors over there because there is a Visual Studio code, has an HTML compiler inside it, and it checks your code, how that code is actually going to run. Now, so this is strong over there, and this is the, so if I go back on this one, so now you can see the Indian military is also, so almost emphasized and bold, they work as exactly the same, no change as such over there. Now, you may ask that why there is two elements over there. Practically nowadays, text is not that much. You are always going to have like mostly pictures inside your website, just like you can see this w3schools.com. Normally text is not that much, but previously when the website was not having that much text, videos or images, text was the only thing at that time. That's why they used to have this strong and bold differently over there. And if you are going to work on a Kindle, I don't know how many of you have gone through or have seen the Kindle. What is a Kindle? I have been using the word every time over there. Kindle is actually, sorry on that one. Kindle is actually a tablet on which you can have your books read out. Okay, you can buy your Kindle tablet over there. It's a Kindle one over there, and Amazon gives you the Kindles in reading format over there. And if you have a website in front of you and you want to view it on Kindle, Kindle actually translates that paragraphs and whatever stuff inside it. It's not some graphical tab. It's just like a black and white tab, as you can see inside this Google Images pictures, as I've shown you at present. And whenever you are buying something from Amazon, maybe particularly a book, you can have the Kindle e-readers taken up. And this is a very good thing for some kids who you don't want to engage in some YouTube stuff or some video stuff or some social media stuff, and you want to make them read some good books over there, maybe some story time books, bedtime story books, then Kindle is a very, very good option. So Kindle is the thing that uses actually a lot these text formatting elements over there, that is B and strong over there. Similarly, I will just go with fastly on this italic and emphasize text over there. I again is the italic over there, and let's say I want to add this I maybe on, let's say I want to add it in the next part over there, arch travel Pakistan. Let's say I want to add it on this Pakistan over there. Let's say I want to add this inside it. So I'm making this Pakistan italic. So in this word. So now what will happen over there when I'm going to open this paragraph now in the browser. So now you can see now that Pakistan is in italic. So it has changed now. Now, and one thing very important, even if you want to make it bold and italic at the very same time, you can have two tags or two formatting, and it can still apply. So it will be bold as well, and it will be italic as well. So you can apply multiple text formatting tags on your task over there. Similarly, your EM is also going to be using the very same thing. I will strongly advise you to do it yourself. I'm not going to do that one in front of you. You can do it yourself. Next thing, smaller. If you want to make something smaller over there, that is smaller in text, of course, some percentage wise size over there. And supposedly, let's say I want to make this India as a small, though still it's not a very small nation, but still because of this Teja crash, they are in a very depleting state. So let's say I want to make it small. Remember, you have to use the angular tabs over there. So this is India. So let's just take India over here, and I have applied it over there inside it. So India's arch rival Pakistan. So now when I'm going to view this thing inside my website, so now you can see India has size reduced by like 20% or 15% over there. So you can see now in this way, you can actually make any text smaller, bigger, or something like that. Of course, there's a styling attribute always available to you, but these are something very fastly being done, because in styling attribute, you have to add a little bit and you have to change it. You have to give the property, you have to give the value. So these are some striking things which you can do on any of the elements over there, and you can have the small element. Similarly, if you want to have it highlighted, let's say you want to highlight something, then there is the mark element over there, and mark element means it's going to change the highlighting color of the background over there. Let's say you want to have let's say I want to have a wing commander who actually lost his life. Sad for him and his family. Wing commander Naman Sayal, he actually lost his life. Let's say I want to make this as something, so I want to mark this element over there. So let's say I want to add this one mark over there, and I'm going to take this wing commander Naman Sayal, sorry, Naman Sayal. And now when I'm going to view this thing in my domain over there, wing commander Naman Sayal, you can see the background is changed to the yellow color over there. So now you can see very easily that your custom change is being done over there. So as you are changing it, similarly, you can use the del element over there. As I told you, this will be a strike through, that is deleted text over there. Let's say I want to add, let's just copy this command over there and just paste it on my web page. So let's say after this paragraph and after this HR, I want to actually show this line. So my favorite color is blue, but blue is deleted, and then there is red over there. So let's say I just want to save it and then just do it. Now you can see my favorite color is blue. Blue is strike through, and then there is red over there. Since there is no styling attribute added over there, that's why it's a very small size. So don't worry on that. You can do it yourself. I will share the file with you. Similarly, you can add an underline over there by using the insert element over there. The insert element over there, let's say I want to add it. My favorite color is this one. Supposedly I want to underline this red over there. So insert over there, and let's say I take this red out of it and over there, and take this full stop also out of it. And now when I'm going to view this thing, this is going to be, you can see now the red is actually over there. Now just to give you a little idea, I can add a styling attribute over there. The styling attribute is equal to, let's say, sorry, one thing very important, every time whenever you are using this styling attribute, one thing very important, color, let's say this is blue, property, and then font size. I'm just increasing the font size over there. Font size equal to, let's say, what was the font size over there? I have added it 25 sections, so 25 pixels over there, and like this. So now by default, this will be always in the bigger size. So you can see now my favorite color is blue, and red is also. I'm adding 3 or 4 properties over there. And at the very same time, if I want to now go with the last 2 elements, one is the subscript and superscript over there, and this is something very, very good over there. That is actually the subscripted text. Let's say I want to add this subscripted text over there in this part. And let's just add this inside this P. I don't want to add a new one. So let's say I want to add over here this thing, and like this thing, and this is sub, and here I will write down sub or superscript over there. So this is a superscripted text over there. Let me just change the word over there, superscripted text over there. So now what I have done over there, inside this paragraph, this is the properties over there. Achha, one thing very important, even if you want to press enter over here, totally up to you, because the code becomes more easy viewable. So it is very good for you that you can actually have the favorite color and everything inside it. So now when I'm going to view this text inside my browser, so now you can see everything is in one line. Now, one thing very important, if you want to make them in two different lines, you can add the BR tag, that is the line break over there. So you can have BR added over there, and you can have even BR added over here as well. Now, this will make it in 3 lines over there, as you can see. So this is a super subscripted text, and that's the superscripted, that the word superscripted is wrong actually. Superscripted text over here. So this is superscripted text over there. So these are some text formatting elements we have just discussed over here, and this is the superscripted elements over there. So nowadays these HTML formatting elements are not that much used, but still they come in very, very handy if you want to emphasize some text over there, and they are very, very good overall. Next thing, very important, before I close this part 2, I will try to cover up till like something HTML colors, and maybe from HTML CSS I will start the part 3. HTML quotations, if you can see over there, every time. Now again, these are something very old. Nowadays you have the images for the contact or something like that, or quotations. But sometimes if you want to show a quotation mark, let's say you want to add some quotation. Let's say I want to add some quotation big quotes. Let's say I want to add some big quotes over there. Let's say big quotes about winning. Let's say I want to add some big quote about winning. So, okay, success is where preparation and opportunities miss. Now, this is a very good quote. Whoever has done this one about winning by, let's say I want to add something by some big notables. Let's say big notable person. So let's say I want to add something from, okay, Winston Churchill, something very important person. I don't know how many of you remember him, Winston Churchill from UK. And I want to add this quote over there. That is, success consists of going from a failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Now, this is a very important word, and I want to actually put this one inside a paragraph. Let's say I want to put it, let's just say, I'm just copying this paragraph over there so I can actually have the, and inside it, I will just take off this out of it over there. And now I want to write down the quotation from Winston Churchill. Okay. Now, this is a quotation from Winston Churchill. Now, one thing very, very important, I want to add a quotation, and I want to add something looking something very good, which means something in center, because he was such a big man. I want to show it over there. So instead of just writing it inside a paragraph, I will have another element called as a block quote. Block quote means that it will actually resize it and show that quote in the center of the page or center of that element over there. So I'm going to use the word block quote over there. Let's say this is that block quote over there, and over here, let's say this is that block quote and quotation from Winston Churchill. And here, this is the block quote. Let's say here I want to add that quote over there. Let me just copy that quote over there if I don't want to write it down. It's a very good quote actually. So I don't need to copy the double quotes over there, because double quotes is going to be automatically added over there. So I will just add over here this thing, double quotes over there, sorry, that part. So now this is, success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And since cite over here is the again the attribute. Now, since I am doing it from Google, just like over there, or maybe if I can find out the from where I'm actually getting this quote over there, let's just say Google. Like, I don't want to actually go in that legality or something like that. Let's say I'm just taking it from Google, otherwise maybe the source may be something different. So now when I'm going to see this thing, let's say I change this color to something red as well. Let's say I want to change this color to red. Okay, so this is a quotation from Winston Churchill. And now when I'm going to see this thing, this should be something, you can see now, it has now gone a little away with a tab over there. So the quotation from Winston Churchill is over here in this form. And it has a different from over there. So quotation from Winston Churchill, success consists of going from failure to failure without the loss of enthusiasm over there. So you can see now that your quotation gives you a little different style as shown also here in this one. As you can see, here is a quote from WWF website. The quotation has a little tab over there and you can write down over there. Plus, if you can see over there, the citation is also for this part over there. Similarly, if you have done this quote, if you just want to add simple double quotes to any of the words, let's say you want to add some double quotes or quotation marks around the some words over there, let's say WWF goal over here, then you can use the Q start word or the tag words over there, that is Q over there. Let's just add this Q somewhere on the above, let's say 6 months after the world largest air battle. Let's say this is the world largest air battle in decades, because of course the fight between Pakistan and India on, I guess, 7th or 8th May this year 2025 was something very big. So if I just add this word Q over there and now just take this world largest battle, world largest air battle in decades, and I just take it out and put it inside the quotes over there. So now what will happen? And just take this off as well and put this full stop here. So now this should be inside double quotes. Let me just see it. And now you can see the world largest battle, air battle in decades. So you can have the double quotes already. You don't need to add it physically. You just need to give it a Q element over there. That is the Q tag over there, not an element. It's actually a tag over there. It's actually being added over there so that you can add any quotation marks to any of the text over there. Similarly, you have the abbreviation. Now, this abbreviation is something very important. Sometimes you have the abbreviation in front of you. You have the abbreviation of BBC, you have the abbreviation of WHO or United Nations or UNICEF or even a doctor or an HTML word or CSS or something like that. Supposingly, then you want to actually just write down WHO, but if someone moves your mouse towards that WHO word, then the full form of that abbreviation should be visible. So World Health Organization is going to be something at this point. So WHO will be visible to that. Let's say I just want to copy this part over there. Let's say I just copy this part over there, and let's just say I add this one inside this over here. I'm just doing it above over there, in the above part over there. So this, the World Health Organization, ABBR, title is equal to World Health Organization, WHO, ABBR, finished. That is the ending tag over there. Since WHO is the abbreviation, so the abbreviation has to be inside that ABBR tag, and of course title has to be added, because WHO, when you're going to move that mouse over there, then it's going to tell you that what is that WHO in front of you. Sorry about that. And I have this one, and if I refresh it, now you can see the WHO was founded in 1948, and if I move my mouse on WHO, you can see there is a small tool tip over there just below that mouse, wherever my mouse is at present, that is the World Health Organization. So this is something very important, because every time you are writing down your detailed blog or something and you want to write down some abbreviations and you don't want to write down the full form of that abbreviation in some inverted commas or somewhere, then you can use this title part over there. So this is very handy as far as the abbreviation is concerned. One of the very last or second last things inside this quotation is the address tag over there, because every time you want to have an address, nowadays you never write down the address over there, but address can be written in form of the address tag, the starting tag and the ending tag. And supposedly I want to add this add below at the very last of this one. Let's say I want to add it here. So this is the address. So let's say this was, since I am the author of this page at present, so I'm just changing it at this one. So visit us at, let's say this is something, my website over there. So I just write down aict.ng.com.pk, and okay, and since I'm in Pakistan still at present, so this is going to be, let's just say UAT Lahore. So I've just changed something, and now when I'm going to see this website over there, and this address will be shown, and of course it's in the bottom. You can see now it has changed into italic, and so this was a normal nomenclature when the .com revolution came in. Nowadays, whenever you are going to open a website, you normally don't see this written by and all that stuff, a blog or something like that. Every time you scroll down, you can see now, and every time I scroll down, you can see this long footnote over there. It has everything. It has the links of the YouTube channel, the LinkedIn, the Panda, the Facebook or the Instagram, and everything over there, and how this website, the copyright and all that. Things have changed. HTML, whenever it was first of all introduced at that time, it was using this address thing over there, because that was giving you the address of whoever has written that page. Because internet, the first .com was actually the means of sharing your work, your research work with other scientists or engineers who were working on something that was going to be shared with some on the intranet. That was actually the first thing, 1960s or 1970s, the internet was used for. The last thing in the quotation one is the Cite. That is very, very important, because nowadays in Pakistan we don't do this thing, but in research community, whenever you are going to write down or you are going to write down something from somewhere, you have to cite it, which means you have to give the name of that person, whoever has actually done it. Nowadays citing is not that much. Every time you want to have a social media video, you take it from TikTok, you apply it on Facebook, and you don't give the credit to that particular person. But whenever you are in the research era, whenever you are going to write down something and you have taken it from somewhere else, you are going to use the word cite over there. So just say, if I have this one over there, the cite word, so this means paragraph started, cite the scream, and by Edward Munch, painted in 1993. So this means that the Edward Munch was actually the one thing and the scream was one thing. So it will be in the italic format. Let me just add this word over there at the very end, so you can see what is actually happening. And if this is done, and if I just refresh it, now you can see the scream by Edward Munch, painted in 1893. So this actually tells you that this scream is actually a name of the book or something, or some author or something like that, or some research paper that is actually always going to be used. So Cite is something like that. It's a creative work, a song or a movie or something. You can call it as an italic as well, but normally it always usually renders in the italic part as well. Next thing, in fact, mostly very, very badly documented in HTML directory is actually this BDO. Normally up till now I have not been able to find out what is the actual reason of having this bidirectional override, but let me just tell you how this works over there. In fact, before telling you how this works, I will just copy this and take it inside my Visual Studio Code, and here I will write down this BDO inside this one, and what you can see over there, this text will be written from right to the left. This text will be written from the right to the left. Up till now you have been writing the text over there and from the left side, and it is going towards the right side over there. But now when you are going to see this thing, this is very important, when you are going to see this thing, it's going to be something very, very different. And you can see over there, in fact, let me just add a branch over there so you can actually visit, you can actually see this thing. This is actually BR, that's the branch over there, or sort of branch line break actually over there. Then I will refresh it, and okay, why the branch is not added? It should be added actually. It has been added actually, I guess, BR. So this 2 branches added. I've just added 1 branch over there, and if I just do it, okay. So you can see now what has happened over there. This text has been written in reverse order. So whatever was written, it has still started from the left side towards the right side, but it has been reversed. Now I don't know the actual advantage of this one. In fact, I have not been able to find out why this BDO works on, unless otherwise you are giving some password or some secrecy element is there. But otherwise I have not been able to find out, because here this BDO with DIR standing for RTL, that is right to the left. So this text will be written from the right to the left. And if you want to change it, let's say if I want to change it to something different, let's say I want to have this word changed to right to something different. Let's say I want to change it to left to right over there, LTR. This will still be exactly the very same. So you can see now there are 2 words. This text will be written from the right to the left, and the other one is totally opposite. Practically, I have not seen its purpose in HTML coding up till now. If any one of you find it out, please write down in the comment section of this video. But normally this is BDO. I could not find out the BDO word or the bidirectional override over there. Last thing before I proceed on towards the other thing is HTML comments. And this is something very, very preliminary. If you are a good programmer, maybe even a C language or a Python programmer, you have been asked or told every time that you are going to have a comment on your code. So every time in C language, those who are from C, you have used the / marks. So you want to add a comment. But in HTML, the comments are added by using this scheme over there, which means the angular bracket, exclamation mark, 2 dashes, and then space, and then you can write anything, whatever you want. And then you can end the comment by 2 dashes and the angular bracket completing it. So what this means actually, if I want to write down, let's say this was a poem poem or something words over there. I just copy it over there and I can write down. So this is some poem pre-formatted text, and of course this is a comment over there, so this will not be printed on the HTML page. This is just for your understanding, and if you are a very good programmer and your code is going to be reviewed by someone else over there, so then you have to have that comments always added over there. So supposedly this is one comment over there, so this is some quotation over there. Let's say I want to add some quotation over there, so this is a very well known quotation from a notable person. So this is something, just a comment over there, and you can use this comment for again having your whole code also taken off from it. For example, if this is that paragraph over there and I want to, for the time being, I don't want this code to be run on the HTML browser over there, then what I can do over there, I can just write down this one and I can take this one over there from this part, and now over here in this portion below it, I am going to write it like this, and now what is going to happen, you can see every color has changed inside this part, and here so this is commented out. So what has happened over there, anything in between this symbol, that is the angular bracket, exclamation mark, dash dash, and ending it with the whatever that comment may be over there. If you don't even want to write down this word, this is commented out, and then the dash dash and the angular bracket, this will be eradicated and this will not be there inside your website over there. And let me just show you that this is, so you can see now that's gone. That superscripted is gone. It's not there now. Why it's not there? Because I have taken out this one by the commenting over there. And this commenting, and I will strongly advise you, if you are starting HTML coding now and you are learning it just from the basics, very important, because HTML codes become very, very heavy as the coding goes on, and you are adding some CSS, you are adding some scripting, you are adding something JavaScript, you are adding some Ajax pages, some PHP code over there, then comments have to be must always use, because maybe you are in some company or some organization and you are going to have some coding being done. So every time your code has to have some comments. So maybe the other person who is going to review it, you can have it. So you can use it for having comments as well. You can use it for hiding the contents as well. So it's totally up to you. And similarly, you can also have the inline content also added. So this is also being done over there. Then the last thing of this part over there, which is actually a long one over there, is the very basic thing, that is HTML colors. I will come back to it later also in the next part as well. But just for now, I talked to you in the very first part that there are 140 standard color names, and they are here available. If you right click on this one and open this, I opened this one in other one, and if you scroll them, there are a lot amount of names over there. You can see the Alice blue, the antique white, the aquamarine, azure, beige, black color, biscuit, blanched almond, blue violet, brown, chartreuse, I guess I can't pronounce it over there, burley wood over there, chocolate, and it's a long list. It's actually 140 names. Some are very, very good colors over there. So there's a lot amount of names over there depending upon how that is over there. You can have the white smoke as well over there in this portion over there. Now this is also the tomato we have used over there. So these are HTML colors, names always there available in any HTML browser. They are supported by all browsers. You don't need to tell them that what is that. You just need to tell the name and it will automatically. If you don't need to tell them the name, then there are 2 or 3 different ways by which you can actually tell it that what color you want to it. The very important thing that you can do is the RGB. That is how you can change the background color. So supposedly if you want to have an RGB color, then you have to specify red, green and blue. If you want to specify red, green, blue, supposedly, let's say I want to add, let's see, now I'm going to do something very, very strange in front of you. If this is the body of this one and I want to here change the whole body, I want to change the background color of my whole website. So if this is style and inside this one, I want to change the background color, and here I want to change it to, let's say I want to change it to azure. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, since body is the main element of my page. Body is the main element जिसके अंदर सारी you have everything inside it. So now this Azure is going to be used over there, and now when I'm going to see it, now you can see that whole of the website, the background color was previously white. Now it has changed to Azure color. Now this is one way of doing it by using the names. Now instead of using the name over there, now what I'm going to do, let's see now. I over here write down RGB, and as soon as I write down RGB, I can now write down whatever color I want. Like supposedly I want to use something, let's say I want to use a 60 for red, 60 for green, 60 for blue, and I want to complete it. Now, as soon as I written it, Visual Studio Code goes with it and it has added that color automatically. Now, just to give you a little trick over there, whenever you are using RGB, and you have all the three values of red, green and blue, and this range from 0 to 255 because it's an 8-bit number. So of course it can be from 0 to 255. If you use red, green, blue of same values, you're always going to get a gray color of different strength. For example, if I use 160, let's say I use 160, you can say it's a different color, but I will just save it and I will show you how this changes the background color. And now you can see the change, the background color has now changed to gray. So this is one way in which you can add your colors over there. One way is by using the HTML names, which I've just shown you, that are 140 names. Some of these names should be memorized with you, basically the beige color, the azure color, the Alice blue color, maybe the console color. Those who are good programmers, those who are going to have some aesthetic sense, they are going to use some styling being done, then you are going to have to remember a lot of these colors over there. But normally if you don't want to do that, then you have to use the RGB, that is red, green color. And since this is 8 color, 8 color, 8, so this is 8-bit, 8-bit, 8-bit. So this means that you have 256 options available for red, green, blue. So the possible number of colors becomes equal to 16 million possible colors. Now, out of those 16 million colors, only 140 have been named in front of you, and that's why the names are given in front of you. But normally, the light colors are mostly preserved use. Nowadays, the websites are getting more and more colorful, especially the social media websites, because of the content and the images and videos over there. But practically, you can have 16 million colors out of this red, green, blue palette over there. And some different options. If you have an RGB 25500, this means it's actually a total red. If you have 00255, it's a blue. If you want something pink over there, you can explore these options over there as well. And if you are using the Visual Studio Code over there, you can change your mouse over there, whatever. Supposedly I want to change it to something, a greenish shade over there. Let's say I have changed it to this one, and this will now give me, you can see a greenish touch over there. So in this way, you can add a lot amount of colors of RGB values over there. You can have it. w3schools.com has this over there. You can have your values set on whatever color you want. You can change your green, you can change your blue over there. One thing very important, if you change and make everything 255, 255, that will be white. Because if you mix red, green and blue, you actually come up with the white color. That is your RGB. And exactly the very same thing if you are fond of gray color a lot, which is normally previously it was used, nowadays not now, but still if you are fond of gray color, then you can get a lot amount of gray colors by having the same value for red, green and blue, that is RGB. You can see over if you have 60, 60, 60, that's a little darkish, blackish gray, you can call it. Then there is 100, 100, 100, you can have. So as soon as you are increasing the value of red, green, blue, you are increasing the opacity, you can call it. It's getting more and more grayish or whitish over there. Next thing with this RGB is the next option, a little revised option that is called as RGBA. That is red, green, blue, alpha. That is red, green, blue, alpha. Now alpha is what? Alpha is actually just like the opacity. Opacity means that how much that color is translucent or transparent to the eyes over there. For example, red, green, blue, they are exactly the same, but here this is 0, which means the alpha color, if it is 0, then it is fully transparent, which means light can pass through it, it's not blocking it. So that's why you can see there is no color actually. But if you have 1, then it is not transparent at all. And you can apply this one. You can see red, green, blue here in this case, 255, 99 and 71. It's the same for all this 9 colors, but the alpha is changing from 0 to 1, and you can see the opacity is changing over there for everything. For example, let's say if I want to try this something over there, let's say I want to try this one for RGBA, and let's say I want to try this one for 0.3 over here, and you can see now as I have changed it to 0.3, the color has changed to something different. If I change it to like something 1 over here, let's say I change it to 1, you can see the color has changed to a little dark over there. But if I change it to something like 0.5, so the color changes, the opacity changes, how it is actually going to allow the colors to go through. Previously it was this color, now you can see it has become dim. So you can say the dimness of the color, how the light passes through it, can be changed by using this RGBA color values over there. So this is also available as a calculator in front of you. You can have the red, the green changed over there, and you can change the alpha. You can see if you make it 0, the color is gone. If you make it 1, the color is still visible as 100% in front of you. Now, I will strongly advise you, I have done it up till now, go through this hex and HSL, and the next part I will go through it a little bit when we are talking about HTML, CSS. But just for now, in this part 2, because this has gone excessively long, I will complete it at present. Today, up till now in part 2, I have talked about different attributes of different elements. I have talked about the headings, H1 to H6. I have talked about the paragraphs. I have talked about different styling parameters, and those who have seen it, I have added the color, the font size, the background color, the font family. One thing very important, instead of font family, if you want to use something Arial font, this is totally up to you as well. You want to use the Arial font, then you can change it over there. You can see now if I change it, it has changed to Arial font. There are many different options available. Whatever font you want to use, that is available to you. And if you are